everyone, my name is Antonio Giler. I'm a senior software developer here at Somnio. And today on Flutter Tips, I'm going to show you about the new feature, Dart build hooks. So let's get into it. What are build hooks? Build hooks is a new feature introduced in the latest version of Dart, right now Dart 3.10. And they allow us to compile or download native assets from languages like C, C++, Go, Rust, and others, and bundle them directly into our app. Native assets, to be clear, are just binaries that our app needs to access to do something. Let's say we need to call some computation done in one of these other languages because it's more performant. We'll need these binaries to be included in the app bundle to be accessed. So why are build hooks really great? Why is this a really great news? Before, and there were two main headaches or two main steps that were really headaches for the users. One for the creator of the package, and one for the client that is going to use that package. The creator will need to first compile these binaries into every single platform and every single architecture that they're planning to support. So that's a lot right there. And then they will need to find a way to distribute these binaries, either by adding them into the package itself, which will, in some cases, will add a lot of size to that package that is not really needed at the moment that we're downloading it. And the other way will be to, in some way, add it in some external repository, add some scripts in the build phases, like in Xcode, or some custom Gradle tasks to download these binaries. And all of this process is really fragile. And for the developer itself, was another headache because they also needed to be sure manually edit the build Gradle to ensure that the native library that they're trying to use is correctly linked into the package for the final APK. And also for iOS, modify the Xcode project settings, link the binary, ensure the framework is included for all the for the target build phases. So it's a lot. And now with build hooks, it is automatically invoked by the Dart SDK on the build process on the build process, run in parallel with the compilation of our app. So now all of these steps are done directly by Dart using the build hooks. It is compiled by the on the target platform that we're compiling our app, and then it is directly bundled into our app. So now we are absolutely sure that these binaries that we need access to are gonna be there. And one thing that you could say or think uh, that is something bad about this is maybe that we'll need to compile these packages every single time that we're trying to run our app. But that's not true because the compilation is only done once and then cached, and it's only being redone once we modify the source code for these binaries. So that's great. Here's a little diagram of this process on our Flutter project. When we do a Flutter run, the build process starts. Then, if we have some build hooks, it is called, and it starts building the binaries as well as our Dart app or Flutter app. Once all of this is done, it is correctly bundled into our app. So great. Now let's get into some code. All right, here we have a really simple app. It's the classic batch counter, but I modified it so here we see the count number, the many times that we hit the button, and over here on the bottom we see this number multiplied by itself. But this method is from a native platform. Um, so how did we do this? In this case, I created this native multiply package, and here is the magic. First, we can see here it's a C class, a C file. We are just defining a method here to multiply two numbers. And we have here the correct headers. This is just all the source code that we need to then compile to our binaries. This will be in a source folder. Uh, we need to create a hook folder and a build.dart file to be recognized by the Dart SDK. Uh, Here we create a main function that gets a list of arguments, and we call this build method from the hooks package. Also, to remind you, you need to add on your outspec.yaml the hooks package, and in this case, since I'm compiling C code, I need to add this package as well. And well, to have access on the Flutter app, I'm also using FFI Django. Well, the build method have some arguments, and we need to pass the arguments that we receive on the main function, and then we have a future method that gives us a build input and a build output builder. Then, from the input, we can get the package name defined for package, and then we just need to do these two steps. First, call the C Builder library, pass the package name, give it or the asset name, and then the source from where are we trying to do this compilation. So in this case, it is from source, and it's going to native multiply dot C. And then just do the await cbuilder.run and pass the input and output. And that's it. For these two functions to test it, I also added here the FFI gen configuration. You can check it. And once we hit the FFI gen on the terminal to generate our code, we get this function. So if in this case we just had our source code here, if we ran the FFFang to create or bridge function to call this native code, and we didn't had the build hook, once we try to test this, it will fail. But because we will need to create these binaries, bundle them into our package, so it knows where to call or where to communicate with this binary. But now, since we have it, we can just hit run. Once we hit run, it will in the background, if we hadn't compiled first, or if it is the first time, it will compile the binaries and then run the test. So here we can see that this multiplication is working. And also, if we check here on the Dart tools, we can see over here the native assets on the hook runners. Here we can see that we have created some binaries that are the ones that we are accessing to. So that's great. And now for the app, here we are also calling the multiply method. And over here, if we try to tap, you can see that it is multiplying. So we are being able to access these binaries without doing practically anything. We haven't done any configuration really. We just have imported on our main app. We just have imported the package itself. And since the package is able to bundle into our app the binaries, we don't need to do practically anything else. That's it, guys. You have some resources to keep diving into what build hooks are and some examples from the Dart team on how does this work that you can check out. That should be it. I hope you learned something in these Flirt tips and that you can create and expand on the build hooks. Thanks, guys.